Okay, so in the world of enterprise data, there is a huge debate going on. You've got data mesh on one side and data fabric on the other. Now, these are two totally different ways of thinking about how to handle all the data chaos we're seeing. And today, we're going to put them head to head and see what's what. So, take a look at this. Does this picture feel a little familiar? I mean, that tangled mess of wires on the left, that's the reality for so many companies, right? It's this knot of complexity you have to deal with every single day just to get any value out of your data. You've got different sources, different teams, different rules. It's a mess. But hey, if you're sitting there nodding your head, you're not alone. Far from it, actually. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We're literally drowning in data, but trying to get a straight answer can feel, well, impossible sometimes. The old ways of doing things, they're just not cutting it anymore. They're breaking under all this pressure. So what do? How do we finally fix this thing? Okay, so to find the answer, we've got to first understand the problem itself. I mean, this chaos didn't just appear out of nowhere, right? It's usually got its roots in data architectures that were built for a totally different era, a much, much simpler time long before this data explosion happened. For decades, this was pretty much the only game in town, the good old centralized data warehouse. The idea was simple, right? You'd take all your data from everywhere, run it through this cleaning process, ETL, which is just extract, transform, and load, and then you dump it all into one giant central database. The dream was to have a single source of truth for everything. And you know what? For a while, it actually worked pretty well. But then, things started to change. Businesses got faster, way more complex. And this old model, well, it started to show its cracks. Centralized control? That just meant bottlenecks. Everybody was stuck waiting for one single team to do everything. That warehouse turned into this massive data monolith that was impossible to change. And ownership? Who owned what? It got super fuzzy, and data quality went downhill. And the real kicker? It was so slow that teams just started making their own little data silos just to get their jobs done, which, completely defeats the whole point of a central warehouse in the first place. So this whole system breaking down, it really opened the door for a completely new, kind of revolutionary idea, an approach that asks a really simple question. What if we just stopped trying to force everything into the middle? What if we embraced the fact that modern businesses are naturally decentralized? And that, right there, is the core idea behind our first contender, the data mesh. At its core, data mesh is a huge shift in thinking. Instead of having one central data team that knows a little about everything, it empowers the individual teams, the people who actually know the data best, to own their own data. It's a philosophy that's all about decentralization, focusing on people and their expertise, not just on the technical plumbing. Okay, so how does this actually work? Well, the data mesh is built on four really important principles. First up is domain ownership. This one's super intuitive. The marketing team owns the marketing data, the sales team owns sales data, and so on. Makes total sense, right? Then, number two, data as a product. This means each team is responsible for delivering their data like it's a high-quality product for other people to use. It has to be trustworthy and easy to consume. Now, to make that happen, you need principle three, a self-service platform. This gives all the teams the tools they need to build and share their data products without waiting for a central team. And finally, you have federated governance. Think of this as the shared rulebook, the guardrails that make sure all these independent teams can still work together seamlessly. Probably the best way to picture this is to think of your whole company as a city. In this city, each data domain, like marketing or sales, is its own self-governing neighborhood. And these neighborhoods are responsible for their own stuff. They publish their data as these clean, reliable products, kind of like public utilities, water or power, that other neighborhoods can just plug into and use. And that federated governance we talked about? That's like the City Planning Commission, making sure the roads and the pipes all connect properly so the whole city functions. Okay, but let's be real. A massive cultural shift like that, it's not always easy or even possible for every company. So what if your main problem isn't really your people or your team structure, but it's just the insane complexity of your technology? Well, that's exactly the problem our second contender, the data fabric, is designed to fix. So data fabric comes at this from a totally different angle. It's not so much about reorganizing your whole company. Instead, it's about weaving this intelligent, automated layer on top of everything you already have. The big goal here is to make getting to your data totally seamless no matter where that data is actually stored. And it does it all with automation and smart integration. Yeah, data fabric is absolutely a technology-first approach. Its main principles are all about using smart tech to fix these data headaches. You've got intelligent integration, which basically uses AI to automate all that boring, tedious work of connecting and cleaning data. Then there's unified governance, which enforces the same rules across the board from one central spot. And finally, you get knowledge insights. This is where things like data catalogs and these cool semantic knowledge graphs come in, which actually map out how all your data is related, helping people find and, more importantly, understand the data they need.
So let's go back to our analogies. If a data mesh is like that city of different neighborhoods, then a data fabric is more like a universal smart grid. And here's the key. It doesn't make you move any of your data around. Nope. Instead, it just builds this smart layer right on top of everything. It uses cool tech like data virtualization, which is basically a way to create one single view of your data without actually moving it, so that you can get to anything you need seamlessly, no matter where it lives.
All right, so we've got two very different philosophies on the table. One is all about decentralizing who owns the data and really changing your company culture. The other is about building a smart technology layer to hide all the complexity. So, how do they really stack up against each other? Let's get to the showdown. Okay, let's break this down point by point. First, their core philosophy. They're basically opposites, right? Mesh is all about decentralized ownership by domain, while Fabric is about centralized, intelligent integration. This, of course, leads to totally different architectures. For Mesh, you get this federated collection of platforms. For Fabric, you get one single unified layer. What about governance? Again, different. It's federated in a mesh, where the domains all agree on the rules, versus totally centralized in a Fabric. And the big benefits? With Mesh, you get agility and you can scale much easier because the teams are autonomous. With Fabric, the big win is better visibility into your data and getting insights faster by just taming all that complexity. Look, when you boil it all down, when you strip away all the jargon, the core difference is this simple. Data mesh is all about people and culture. It's what you'd call a socio-technical approach. It's basically saying your biggest problem isn't your tech, it's your organizational chart. Data fabric, on the other hand, is all about technology and automation. It's a technology-first strategy that says, hey, we can solve this problem with smart automation without having to completely restructure the company. So the big question is, which one is right for you? And really, it's not about which one is better overall. That's the wrong way to look at it. It's all about figuring out which problem you're really trying to solve in your organization. This is a huge strategic choice about the future of your data. And that brings us to the one last question you really need to ask yourself. What is your biggest data challenge? Is it your technology or is it your teamwork? I mean, really think about it. Is the biggest source of friction that tangled, old-school tech that's holding you back? If the answer is yes, then maybe a data fabric is what you need. But is the real problem the bottlenecks, the silos between teams, and the fact that no one really owns anything? If that's the case, then a data mesh might just be the cultural revolution your company's been waiting for. Your answer to that one question will pretty much tell you everything you need to know.